How you doing, my recruiter friends? It's Dave here from Seriously Connected, and today's vlog is a little of a kind of technical one that nobody really probably wants to watch or even wants to read, but I'll tell you why you should very, very simply. I'm going to tell you about GDPR, and if you're a non-believer and you don't think it's going to happen to you, then that's okay. There are plenty of recruitment companies. Boy, have I spoke to a lot of recruiters recently, some big companies, some small companies who are doing zero. So if you're not sure or you're a non-believer, that's okay. There are plenty in that frame of mind. But I want to help you today. So I want to give you a series of 3 stages that, even if you don't think GDPR is going to have an impact, because I remember back in 2000 when Y2K happened, it happened to me on my 27th birthday. I'm a New Year's Eve Capricorn kind of guy. And my best pal, Alan Doherty, was an IT manager for IBM, and he sat next to me as the clock turned to 2000. The century changed. It was amazing. But what happened? Absolutely nothing. And I think a lot of people is really expecting that to be the case with GDPR, which may be the case, but it's not a definitive end of 28th and everything changes. It's the start of the new process. So I want to help you. I want to help you get ahead if you're a non-believer, and even if you are a believer, or if you're a company not sure where to start, hopefully I can help. But a little caveat: I am not a solicitor, I am not regulated. This is just our opinion and some of the stages that we put in place for our recruiters that might be able to help you cleanse your data and get it super, super tight. So step number 1. Right, don't tell me, recruiters out there, that you don't have CVs everywhere, whether they're in a file, they're in your Excel, Dropbox, whether they're stored in some spurious account, wherever they are. You want to get all that data together so you know where everything lives, and that means going through and getting those cards that we all used to write on with the names and addresses and all those kind of things, getting all that details and all that content and putting it together, because very, very soon, really, you're either going to have to learn to lock it up or throw it away. So let's get the data so you can use it and work with it. So get every single thing that you own that belongs to a client or a candidate, any records, any email addresses, any of that data that you possibly can. Let's get it into one place. That's step number 1. All right, step number 2 is something I think that everybody should do on a regular basis, actually, and it's kind of frightening, and I suspect quite frequently businesses don't do this, and I really think they should be doing, which is to cleanse the data and see how accurate that data is, i.e. how live is that email address. Now, I think people generally change their email addresses as often as they change bank accounts, but they still do die. Clients and candidates, clients move on, and also your applicants, your candidates, they change their email addresses. So what I would highly recommend is getting all that information into two Excel files, one for candidates and one for clients. You can probably merge them two together, but it's kind of easy just to amalgamate to separate them. So get the one file, organize that data accordingly, and then you go to something called Zero Bounce. Now, Zero Bounce is a wonderful piece of software which allows you to update tens of thousands of email addresses, and it actually comes back with a response to whether it's a live or an accurate email address, and if it's not, bin it. It's gone. Let's get rid of it. Okay, so if that email address is no longer required, Unbounce will come back and it'll give you the status. Either it's not recognized, or it's dead, or it's not used, and those delete. Same with your clients. Do exactly the same thing, upload it, and it costs almost nothing. I think we cleansed some outrageous amount, well, I don't even remember how many details, but it doesn't cost a lot. I think you're looking at like 10p per 1,000 or something crazy. So it's a really good exercise, and do you know something? It cleanses your data anyway, so why not get it all tight and clean? Same with your clients. And then once you've got that data back, I really encourage you to do, this is stage 3. 3 and a 4 really, I suppose. What I would highly recommend that you do is I would take all that data and I would make sure it's segmented correctly. And then I would go to an email provider, like an autoresponder or a follow-up sequence, like you would have MailChimp or you would have Aweber, either of those. And I would then create 3 autoresponder or 3 mailing lists, 3 sequences that you'd need. And of those 3 sequences, it's kind of straightforward. I would have sequence number 1, which would say, would you like to still be on my list? Very basic, very blunt. Would you still like to be able to be on my list so that I can communicate with you and send you frequent updates about new jobs, new vacancies, etc. So I can email market to you. They will go onto your list. That list is in theory a small amount of recognition for GDPR that you actually have made an attempt to have legitimate consent to actually send that candidate jobs or any kind of marketing. Now, number 2, I would then send my second email sequence, which just says, would you like to remain on my data set so I can secure it, so I can only contact you via phone calls when anybody actually a suitable role comes available for you. And then email number 3, delete, unsubscribe. Now, let's be honest. It's kind of scary unsubscribing and deleting all of those email addresses that are no longer working, but what do you want them for? And B, getting rid of all those people that unsubscribe. But if you unsubscribe, or they don't want to be on your list, or they don't want to be in your database, they don't want to really have anything to do with you, then the real key thing that you really need to think about is that's actually a good thing. It gives you engaged data. It gives you candidates. So you end up with 2 lists. Okay, you end up with a list that nobody wants to have anything to do with you about. Okay, you end up with a list that you can market and you can communicate with, and you end up with another list which allows you to just keep their data on file. So come May, at least you've made an attempt to cleanse your data and get that information up to date so that you can actually have the opportunity to communicate with them. Now, what I would say, nobody really gives you anything without really anything in return. So I would recommend you look at some kind of way of giving them a little bit of value. If you just said, please send me your details and update your records, can I be on your list? Some will, some won't. You want to give them a real strong reason to actually communicate with you. And what I would say with that is give them a salary survey, give them some industry knowledge, give them something we provided, which was, is your CV up to date? It's a brochure, it's a PDF document, and it goes through all the stages of what you should do with your CV, how long it should be, the content, why, whether you should have locked down your Facebook profiles, your Twitter profiles, any of that kind of thing that you think will be of relevant that actually helps people enhance the CV and be more attractive to potential employers. So what I would encourage you to do is find something that you have that's of value so that your audience, those people on your email list, come back to you and actually want to engage with you. So remember, you'll end up with 2 lists. One you can communicate with, one you can actually keep on record, and then the other one which is gone. So I wish you luck. We did it. And I'll tell you now, some of our recruiters were practically crying at the thought of deleting dead email addresses. Why? Because it's the thing that we do. We're recruiters, we hoard, and we believe that content and keeping that content is going to be value. But it's probably worthless. You want engaged email addresses and your candidates in a position where you can communicate with them on your terms. We just need them to say, yes, you can. So that's my top tip, 3-stage and a little bit of a bonus bit thrown in. Good luck with it. If you've got any queries, give me a call, drop me an email. I'll be really keen to help you if I can. And I can show you what we did. So best of luck, GDPR. It's not far away. See you soon. Good luck, guys.